Hello, welcome to this channel once again. In this video, we're going to go through one of the databases that our team has developed and see if it answers all the questions that are required by the question paper. On my screen, you can see the question paper is open. If you don't have the project, you can visit our site at kcseprojects.com. Under the sample section, you can just click on Azani Internet Service Provider, and then you will get a button to download the current question paper right here. So let's go through the database and see if it answers all questions that have been stated in this question paper. This is one of our databases that our team has developed. Once you open, you have to first click on OK to mean that you trust the database. And then the next step, you have to enable content so that the Visual Basic programs or the automations can run properly. So you just click on enable content. And then this will bring you to a default login page. So you have the default credentials here being a username is admin and the password is admin. So you can just click on login and then continue and then continue once again. So this one will authenticate you as the main admin on the system. And then immediately after this, you will see this pop up here that's saying the billing completed up to 20th of June. So the date that I'm recording this is 20th of June from my clock. And this is first to answer the first question, that is, all institutions using the internet are required to pay by the end of the month. So each time you open the database, it checks what was the last time the database was opened, right? And then it calculates the billing of the institutions within that period. So if there is any institution that didn't pay within, for example, even if you opened the database last in March, and then you opened again in June, it will do the calculations for April and May. If any institution didn't pay in those periods, it's going to continue to surcharge the 15% that has been mentioned, and then disconnect their internet, and then it will require them to pay the surcharge fee to reconnect. So let's see how that has been implemented on this system. So once you get into the system, you will see we have 5 institutions with disconnected internet. So if you just go to subscriptions and then all billing, you can see there are several unpaid bills, right? That is for Hope Academy, they have 2, and then the Grace Academy or Grace School, they have 1. So let's go ahead and pay for Hope Academy. So you just click on this and then click on pay. So that will tell you how much, what month, how much was it, if there is any discount or the reconnection fee that are required. So just click on yes, and then the invoice for June has been paid, and then you can just close. Let's go ahead and try this for these other institutions. So if you just go ahead and continue the same steps, you see for them they have the late fee of this particular amount. They had discount because this is an upgraded subscription. So if you look at the page, it says that all institutions that would like to upgrade to higher bandwidth are offered a 10% discount of the cost of the bandwidth they are upgrading to. So that is why we have this 10% discount that has been applied here. They don't have a reconnection fee right now, and we'll see why, because they still have one unpaid invoice. So we'll just click on OK and then close this one again. So if we go ahead, we are now left with one we are left with one billing. So let's go ahead and click on yes. So you see for them now they have that reconnection fee of 1,000 shillings because this is their last unpaid bill. So if you just click on yes, now the internet has been reconnected. And if you close that and go to all subscriptions and check for Hope Academy, you can see they are connected. They are connected on this particular. They are connected on this particular subscription, right? Because this other one was an upgrade, so they upgraded to this other one, and you see this one is connected. So you see that question is already answered properly on this database. So let's go to the next question, which is register institutions. Register institutions requiring the services together with the personal details of the contact person. Let's register an institution. So if you go under organization and then institution and then click on add institutions, we can clearly see a model to add the name of the institution, like Elimu Academy, and then the type, let's make it because it's an academy, let's just say it's a junior secondary school. Then the email, let's say elimu at gmail. Then the address, let's just say it's Nairobi, Kenya. Let's add a postal address. So let's say PO Box 123, then 10500, and then like that. Then we can now add the details of the contact person. So from the question paper, we were required to also add the information of the personal details of the contact person. That's what we are required to do here. Let's add the name. Let's say Mary Njoki. And then the role, let's say she's the IT personnel. So let's say IT personnel. The email is Mary at Gmail. And then their phone number, let's just say 0712345678. And then again, we still have the enrollment fee. If you go back to the question paper and immediately in the second paragraph, it says institutions interested in the services are required to pay a registration fee of 8,500 to the company. So that's why we already have the amount that has been set, that is 8,000. That doesn't change. But now you have to select the payment method. So let's go with mobile money. And then the receipt number, let's just enter something like a M-Pesa transaction. It's just a random ID like that. And then the date, let's choose today's date. Click on pay. So the payment has been processed successfully, and you can see the information has been updated. So you can save the whole form, and then you can see, if you click again on this, you can see Academy has been added, right? For the first question, everything is okay and it's functional. So the next thing that you're going to see is the next question. We need to capture the following details. So the registration fee, we have already captured that, the installation fee, and the monthly payment. So for the installation fee, we are going to go up on this question paper and see what installation fee means. So when an institution requests for a service, the company visits to establish the readiness of the institution. So before we even figure out if the installation is going to be done, we need to figure out if the institution is ready for the installation. So for that, we have to perform an assessment. On our system, you will go to all assessments and then try to create a new assessment. So from here, you can see all the institutions that have not been assessed yet. So for our case, we are going to use the Limo Academy, and then we are going to add some information about the assessment. So the company finds out the number of users. So we need to enter the number of users. So let's say they are 20 people, because we assume the only people that are going to use this particular internet are the staff members. So let's say they are 20 people. So we also need to know the infrastructure required. So for example, the computers that they have, and then the local area networks that they need. So for example, for computers, let's say they need 20 computers. So let's assume each individual needs their own computer. And then let's say we only have 10 individuals who already have their computers. And then for the LAN nodes, let's say they need 30, and 30 are a lot. Let's just put it at 20 also, and say it's only like 5 that do have the LAN nodes. And then we choose the person who assessed. So as currently we are logged in as admin, so we'll just pick system admin, and then the assessment status. This is going to be set automatically, so we don't have to pick that. We can go ahead and try to save this. So this is going to tell us your institution is missing 10 computers and 15 LAN nodes. Would you like to order the following? This is also mentioned in the question paper, because if you read through, it says if the institution has not met the requirements, they may purchase personal computers from Azani company at 40,000 per unit, and they may also purchase the LAN node as the detailed table shows below. So this particular model is in response to this particular section of the question. If we go ahead and click on yes, we want to order those things, and then it's going to create an order for us, and then it's going to ask us to mark it as paid and delivered if everything is okay. So if we close on that and then go again and to edit this assessment, so just click on edit. You can see we already have our order here. So let's just confirm the order and say yes, it has been already fulfilled, and you can see the institution has been marked as ready for installation. So you remember you didn't pick this in the previous section, so it has already marked that. So you just click on installation fee has already been paid, because the next section is going to tell us that they need to pay an installation fee of 10,000 shillings. So that's why we need to mark it as that, and then proceed on yes, and then okay. So after this assessment has been done, now we are ready to create a subscription. So immediately the assessment has been done and the installation fee has been paid, it's going to ask us to create a subscription. Why do we need that? Because the question paper asked that an institution is requesting for internet services. So they need to subscribe to a plan. So for example, we have 4 MB per seconds, and then we have 10 to 50 Mbps. So we have to create a subscription so that it's a recurring service. because we also need to answer a question where we are gaining the monthly payments, and we are going to generate several reports. So first, for our case, we are going to create the subscription, say yes. That's going to immediately bring us the subscription with the institution selected with the date that it started, assuming it's today. And then you're going to pick the internet plan. So let's go with 20 Mbps. Then the note, let's just say the institution paid for this plan. Now let's go to the next. For the subscription status and the disconnect status, we are not going to select that because the system is going to update those automatically. So you just click on save, and then you see it has already marked it as active, and status is connected. So that's done. Now for installation fee, we can see it's already done. Payment, monthly payment, you saw when you open the database, it ran a cycle to ensure that every pending subscription or any subscription has been paid for. So you can see all those have been answered. So the next thing we need to generate the following. We need a list of registered institution. So for this, I'm just going to go direct to the reports, but you can see that is the last question. But by generating, it means that we need to sort of use a query, right? But we can't just open a query by itself. So I'm just going to use a report because a report is already linked to a query. So I'm just going to use a report for that. If we go to reports, we can see our first report. We need to know if we have the list of registered institutions. So we can see we have a report for registered institutions, and then you can pick on show, and you can see all our registered institution here with their addresses, their contact person, the contact person's phone number, the email, and the amount that they paid to be able to join our services. So the report is very professional. As you can see, it's simple and elegant. The next thing that we need is the list of defaulters. So that's the next report on our system. So if you just click on this and show, so far we don't have any defaulters, but if any pool was to default, we'll get that. So let's see if there is any institution with disconnected internet. We still don't have that because our system only has few records, but we already have seen before. If the institution had disconnected internet, like the first step that we did, we will see them. So we can see the institutions that have been disconnected because we already have that, and then we can see the installation fee that is also mentioned as part of the system. So we need to calculate the total installation cost, which is, if you just click on this and then click on show, it's going to show you the total installation cost per institution and how many computers or landlords that they bought, including the amount that they paid to complete the installation. The next thing that we need is a cost of personal computers that were bought. So we can see this under extras. Then in all orders, you can see the computers and the landlords that they order and the date and if the order was completed or not. We also need to see the upgrade we also need to see the monthly upgrade. We also need the monthly charges for upgraded internet. We already had that under the all discounts, because this is discounts stands for the amount that we have reduced from the upgrades that we did. So that's under that. And then you also need the total monthly charges for internet services, overdue fine, and reconnection. So if we go to reports again and then under total earnings and then click on show, you can see the amount of installation, the equipment, the subscription, the fines, the reconnection, and the grand total that we've made, and the fees that they've used to join our system. So that's all calculated and provided in our system. So we need the aggregate amount for each service sorted by institution. If you go to financial summary and then click on show, you can see all that information is already provided. So our database passes all the checks, it provides all information, it answers all questions asked by the question paper. If you want to get one of these samples, our site is open. You can always reach out to us via the phone number provided, or you can create an order, and then our team will be able to provide you a fully functional, worked out project so that you can pass your exam and focus on other subjects. So thank you for watching to this end, and I'll see you in the next video.